Okay, I've had this conversation with a lot of people in my nutrition groups, and so I think it's worthwhile to talk about for everybody. And it's a subject that I find really interesting, and it's something that's extremely important outside of the gym. You can do all the work you want inside of the gym, but if your lifestyle and your nutritional habits outside of the gym aren't very good, then it's going to really negate a lot of the good stuff that you're going to do in here. One of the things to make your lifestyle better outside of the gym is to lower your stress. What a lot of people don't think about when they think of stress is that stress is usually associated with worrying and having a lot on your mind. But for a lot of people, that can be an infinite amount of other things. So. And the reason why this is relevant to a lot of the conversations I've been having lately is how chronically elevated stress is going to make you fatter, and it's going to make you heal less quickly. It's going to make you sick more often. It's going to lower your libido and reproductive function, and it's going to ruin your digestion. It's going to do a host of other things that are not beneficial for you. So I've drawn this graph for a lot of you lately, and this will be hopefully informative. This will be sun comes up and sun goes down. That's going to be a moon. Moon? Yeah. So naturally, in the morning, as the sun starts to come up, and you start to wake up, your cortisol level should start to spike. This graph's not going to be 100% accurate, but it should start to spike, and as the day goes on, your cortisol level should start to lower. That's probably a little dramatic, but it should start to lower through the day. By the time the sun goes down, you should be feeling sleepy, tired, and ready to go to bed. On the flip side of that, your melatonin levels should start off low in the morning, should be low, and as the day goes on, they should start to elevate, and then as the sun goes down, then you should be ready for sleep. That's going to help regulate your sleep cycles. And as you see here, your cortisol while you're sleeping should be fairly dormant. And that's where another thing that's come up a lot for a lot of people is how many times you wake up in the night. Now this is a big conversation that can have a lot to do with a lot of different things. But getting up multiple times in the middle of the night is not beneficial. And it doesn't usually in my experience, doesn't always have to do with hydration. So a lot of people, I drink a bunch of water before I go to bed, or drink a bunch of water with dinner. It's generally not. Usually we can kind of solve that by looking at some other things, either what you're eating, what your daily lifestyle habits are like. So what I started this talking about was about stress levels. And so if you're not following this, so let's say you're a normal person, you wake up, you have a cup of coffee, this aligns with your natural cortisol levels. That's great. That's going to allow this to then shut down through the day. However, what most people are going to do is around, let's say, between like noon to like 3 p.m., start to get a little bit tired. So you want to get that afternoon boost of caffeine. So instead of this thing continuing to slope, you make it jack up again. Say maybe you're an afternoon workout person, so 4:30 to 5:30 or so. Then you're making it jack up again. And that's maybe a longer conversation if you don't understand what I'm talking about here. But with the cortisol being your fight or flight hormone, your body has no idea whether it's working out or it's going to war. It knows it's under a stress, and you gotta go, oh shit, we gotta go. So whether or not, like, if you're working out or someone's chasing you with a gun, your body doesn't know that. So it still is gonna spike this cortisol level. So maybe you come home, you have to deal with your kids running around, you're doing all sorts of crazy stuff, barely get down to sit down for dinner, and then you go to sleep, which you probably have a hard time. If that's your normal day, you probably have a really hard time sleeping. So then that's kind of what it looks like. And then, like I said before, a lot of times in the middle of the night, cortisols are going to spike up again for some people. That's maybe, again, a longer conversation for another day. But so what this does here, this gets rid of this curve, and you have what we're going to refer to as chronically elevated cortisol levels. And so your body thinks it's in the middle of a feast, famine, or I'm sorry, not in the middle of a feast, but in the middle of a famine, starvation, war, or whatever. So it's going to start to store certain things, that's going to help you survive that. Do that, progress that for weeks and weeks and months or years and years, and suddenly you've got extra fat. You're not healing as well. You're sick more often, and you just can't recover as well. So yes, aging certainly has a lot to do with that, but at the same time, the older we get, the more stress we put on ourselves, it seems, the more responsibilities, the more things we got to worry about, and then that's how you get in these levels. So what can you do to combat that? First of all, I usually tell people to cut off caffeine after noon. Caffeine, that's including energy drinks, 5-hour energies, any sort of like stimulant. And so what the takeaway from this for those of you that work out in the afternoon is that pre-workout's probably not a good idea. If you need pre-workout to work out, you probably need to reevaluate your priorities in life. Again, that's an overarching statement. Talk to me if you feel like you may not fit in that. But I would say that if you're working out in the afternoon, pre-workout's probably not your friend. The other thing, better sleep. Trying to maintain this natural curve. Trying not to wake up in the middle of the night. If you are, trying to take a look at if you're having drinks, a couple of drinks after dinner, what you're eating with dinner. Just maybe working out in the afternoon is not for you. You can't wind down. Making sure your room's dark. But just trying to follow your natural patterns is going to behoove you greatly in your quest for being more lean and more sexy in general. So hopefully that was helpful, and hopefully that was brief enough that people are still paying attention, but long enough to get some good ideas out there.